Once upon a time, in the peaceful village of Umuahia, a grand wedding was taking place. Chioma and Emeka were getting married, and the whole village buzzed with excitement. Everyone was thrilled, except for Emeka's mother, Mama Ngozi. She thought no woman was good enough for her son. As Chioma walked down the aisle, her heart bursting with joy, Mama Ngozi whispered to her friend, Neka, "Look at her. She can't even walk properly. What a disaster." Neka nodded sympathetically but thought Mama Ngozi was being too harsh. The wedding ceremony was beautiful, with traditional Igbo music, dancing, and feasting. Chioma's family from ABA mingled with Emeka's relatives, creating a blend of cultures and traditions. But Mama Ngozi watched with a critical eye, her disapproval evident in her frown. Later that night, as the newlyweds settled into their new life, Chioma expressed her concerns to Emeka. "Your mother doesn't seem to like me," she said softly. "Don't worry, Chioma," Emeka reassured her, "Mama just needs time. She'll come around." He hoped his words were true, but deep down, he knew his mother's stubborn nature. Chioma moved into Emeka's family house in ABA, excited but nervous. She wanted to make a good impression, but from the first day, Mama Ngozi's displeasure was evident. She assigned Chioma endless chores and found faults in everything she did. "Chioma, you missed a spot," Mama Ngozi would say, pointing out an imaginary speck of dirt. "Or, this soup tastes like water. Do you want to starve my son?" Chioma tried her best to please her mother-in-law, waking up early to cook and clean, but nothing seemed to satisfy Mama Ngozi. One day, as Chioma scrubbed the floors, Mama Ngozi called her into the kitchen. "Chioma, why is the yam porridge so watery?" she demanded. Chioma, tired and frustrated, replied, "Mama, I followed your recipe exactly." Mama Ngozi's eyes flashed with anger. "Are you calling me a liar? You think you know better than me?" Chioma bit her tongue to avoid saying something she would regret. She felt trapped and alone, far from her own family and with no one to confide in. That night, Chioma cried silently, her heart heavy with worry. Emeka noticed her distress and held her close. "It will get better," he whispered, but Chioma wasn't so sure. Mama Ngozi's behavior was wearing her down, and she wondered how long she could endure it. One morning, the household was thrown into chaos. Mama Ngozi's favorite necklace, a family heirloom, had gone missing. She immediately blamed Chioma. "You thief! You want to sell it," she shouted, her face contorted with rage. Chioma was shocked and hurt. "Mama, I didn't take your necklace. I would never do that," she pleaded, tears streaming down her face. But Mama Ngozi was relentless, turning the entire house upside down in her search. Emeka intervened, trying to calm his mother. "Mama, let's not jump to conclusions. We will find the necklace," he said, but Mama Ngozi was determined to make Chioma's life difficult. As days passed without finding the necklace, Mama Ngozi's accusations grew harsher. She spread rumors in the village, tarnishing Chioma's reputation. The villagers began to look at Chioma with suspicion, whispering behind her back. Chioma felt isolated and betrayed. One evening, as Chioma sat alone in the garden, she prayed for strength. Just then, Emeka approached her, holding something shiny. "Look what I found under the couch," he said, showing her the missing necklace. Chioma's relief was overwhelming, but it was short-lived as she realized Mama Ngozi's apology might never come. When Emeka presented the necklace to his mother, she reluctantly acknowledged Chioma's innocence but didn't apologize. "Just be more careful next time," she muttered, leaving Chioma feeling defeated. Mama Ngozi decided to embarrass Chioma at the village market, where everyone gathered to buy and sell goods. As they walked through the crowded stalls, Mama Ngozi loudly complained about her daughter-in-law to anyone who would listen. "Can you imagine? She can't even cook a proper meal for my son. And she lost my precious necklace," she exclaimed, making sure everyone heard. Chioma, carrying a basket of vegetables, felt tears sting her eyes. The other women in the market looked at her with pity, but no one dared to confront Mama Ngozi. At the spice store, Mama Ngozi continued her tirade. Back in my day, daughters-in-law were respectful and hardworking. This one is just lazy. Chioma wished she could disappear. She tried to focus on her shopping, but Mama Ngozi's words cut deep. An elderly woman named Mama Nkechi approached them. Ngozi, leave the poor girl alone. She's trying her best, she said, her voice firm. Mama Ngozi scoffed but quieted down. Chioma gave Mama Nkechi a grateful smile. As they walked home, Chioma felt a mix of humiliation and gratitude. She appreciated Mama Nkechi's support but knew it wouldn't stop Mama Ngozi's torment. That evening, as Chioma prepared dinner, Mama Ngozi's critical eyes followed her every move. Despite her best efforts, Chioma couldn't escape the older woman's disapproval. Emeka noticed Chioma's sadness and tried to cheer her up. Let's go for a walk, he suggested. They strolled through the village, hand in hand, finding solace in each other's company. Chioma felt a glimmer of hope, knowing Emeka was on her side, but she still worried about her future in his mother's house. Chioma discovered she was pregnant, and she was overjoyed. She hoped the news would soften Mama Ngozi's heart. When Emeka told his mother, she pretended to be happy but secretly fumed. She didn't want to share her son's attention with anyone, not even a grandchild. Mama Ngozi devised a plan to make Chioma lose the baby. She gave her strenuous chores, hoping the physical strain would take its toll. One afternoon, she ordered Chioma to fetch heavy buckets of water from the well repeatedly. Chioma, already feeling weak, obeyed. As she carried the last bucket, she felt a sharp pain and collapsed. Emeka rushed to her side, panic in his eyes. They rushed her to the village clinic, but it was too late. Chioma had lost the baby. Chioma was devastated, and Emeka was heartbroken. He blamed himself for not protecting her better. Mama Ngozi showed fake concern but secretly felt satisfied. She thought the baby would have taken Emeka away from her. As Chioma lay in bed recovering, Emeka confronted his mother. Mama, you did this. Your wickedness caused this, he accused, tears streaming down his face. Mama Ngozi denied it, but Emeka knew the truth. He vowed to protect Chioma from then on, even if it meant distancing himself from his mother. The stress and sorrow of losing their baby took a toll on Emeka. He became withdrawn, unable to focus on work or enjoy life. His health began to deteriorate, and soon he fell seriously ill. Chioma cared for him day and night, her own grief pushed aside to tend to her husband. Mama Ngozi watched in horror as her beloved son wasted away. She realized her actions had not only hurt Chioma but also endangered Emeka. The village doctor warned that Emeka needed peace and love to recover, not the constant tension in their home. One night, Emeka had a high fever and was delirious. He called out for his mother, begging her to stop the hatred and make peace. Mama Ngozi, seeing her son in such pain, finally broke down. She realized the gravity of her actions and the suffering she had caused. As Emeka lay in bed, weak and frail, Mama Ngozi approached Chioma. I'm sorry, she whispered, tears streaming down her face. I never meant for things to go this far. Chioma, exhausted and heartbroken, nodded. She hoped Mama Ngozi's remorse was genuine, but only time would tell. One evening, a mysterious old woman knocked on their door. She introduced herself as Mama Chidinma, an old friend of Mama Ngozi. I have come to help, she said mysteriously. Mama Ngozi welcomed her, thinking she would join in tormenting Chioma. But Mama Chidinma had a different plan. She observed the household and noticed Mama Ngozi's behavior. She saw how Chioma was mistreated and decided to intervene. Ngozi, let me handle this, she said one night. Mama Ngozi, thinking Mama Chidinma was on her side, agreed. The next morning, Mama Chidinma called Chioma into the kitchen. "Chioma, come here, my dear," she said kindly. Chioma approached cautiously, unsure of what to expect. "I have a special recipe for you. It's a family secret," Mama Chidinma said, handing her a list of ingredients. Chioma followed the recipe, and the aroma filled the house. When Mama Chidinma tasted the dish, she praised Chioma's cooking loudly, ensuring Mama Ngozi heard. "Chioma, this is the best soup I've ever had. You must teach Ngozi how to make it," she declared. Mama Ngozi, feeling a mix of jealousy and pride, reluctantly agreed to learn from Chioma. Mama Chidinma's presence brought a sense of calm to the household. She subtly encouraged Mama Ngozi to spend more time with Chioma, sharing stories and traditions. Gradually, Mama Ngozi started to see Chioma's strengths and began appreciating her efforts. One night, as Mama Ngozi was returning from a visit to a neighboring village, a storm broke out. The rain poured down heavily, and the paths became slippery and treacherous. As she hurried to find shelter, she slipped and fell, injuring her leg badly. Alone and in pain, she cried out for help, but the village was far away, and no one could hear her. For hours, she lay in the mud, unable to move, thinking about her actions and the suffering she had caused. The cold and darkness were her only companions, and she feared she might not survive the night. In her despair, she realized the extent of her wickedness and regretted every harsh word and cruel act towards Chioma. As dawn broke, a group of villagers found her and carried her back home. Emeka and Chioma were shocked to see her in such a state. Despite everything, Chioma tended to her wounds with care and compassion, her heart softening at the sight of her mother-in-law's vulnerability. During her recovery, Mama Ngozi had plenty of time to reflect. She saw how Chioma managed the household, cared for Emeka, and now selflessly looked after her as well. She felt a deep sense of guilt and a longing to make amends. As Mama Ngozi healed, she started to change. She became kinder, more appreciative, and openly acknowledged Chioma's efforts. She began sharing her wisdom and family traditions with Chioma, teaching her recipes and customs she had once withheld. Chioma, cautious at first, gradually accepted Mama Ngozi's change of heart. The household atmosphere improved, and Emeka's health started to recover. He noticed the positive change in his mother and felt hopeful for the first time in months. One day, as Chioma and Mama Ngozi were preparing a feast for a village celebration, Mama Ngozi turned to Chioma and said, "I am truly sorry for everything. I see now how wrong I was. Can you ever forgive me?" Chioma, moved by the sincerity in Mama Ngozi's voice, replied, "Mama, I forgive you. Let's move forward and be a family." With Mama Ngozi's newfound kindness, the household became a place of love and peace. Emeka regained his strength, and the family bond grew stronger. Mama Ngozi decided it was time to leave their house and give Chioma and Emeka space to build their own family. Before leaving, Mama Ngozi gathered the family. "I have caused so much pain, but you have all shown me what true love and forgiveness mean. I will always be grateful for that," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. As Mama Ngozi moved to a small house nearby, she remained a constant part of their lives, but now as a supportive and loving presence. The village noticed the transformation and often sought advice from Chioma and Mama Ngozi on how to maintain harmony in their own homes. Chioma and Emeka, with Mama Ngozi's blessing, decided to try for another baby. When Chioma became pregnant again, Mama Ngozi was overjoyed and supported her through every step of the pregnancy. The family eagerly awaited the arrival of the new member, feeling blessed and united. Finally, the day came, and Chioma gave birth to a healthy baby girl. They named her Nneka, in honor of the woman who had stood up for Chioma in the market. The family celebrated with a grand ceremony, inviting the entire village. Mama Ngozi held her granddaughter, tears of joy streaming down her face. From that day on, their home was filled with laughter, love, and the sweet memories of their journey. The wicked mother-in-law had become a loving matriarch, and their story inspired the whole village, proving that love and forgiveness could truly conquer all. And so, they lived happily ever after, their hearts united and their future bright.